Many people are sincere in their efforts. They wake up with good intentions, push themselves to do better, and genuinely want closeness to Allah. Yet, despite all that effort, the heart feels unsettled and peace feels out of reach. This confusion can be painful, especially when you believe you are doing everything right. The truth is, sincerity alone does not always guarantee clarity. A person can be committed, consistent, and hardworking, yet still feel spiritually drained. Not because Allah is distant, but because the approach itself needs reflection. When actions are not rooted in correct understanding, effort can turn into exhaustion. Allah did not ask us to burden ourselves or to lose balance in our worship. He asked us to follow guidance with wisdom, humility, and awareness. When we place pressure where mercy was intended, the soul begins to struggle instead of grow. This reminder is meant to help you pause, not feel judged, to reassess, not feel ashamed. Because sometimes the smallest adjustment in mindset, intention, or priority can bring back the calm the heart has been searching for. Listen with openness. Because when direction aligns with sincerity, even simple actions become meaningful and the heart finally finds the peace it was missing. Many people believe that the more they push themselves, the closer they will become to success and righteousness. They load their days with effort, sacrifice, rest, and ignore their limits, thinking this is dedication. But the heart was not created to be constantly strained. When effort is driven by pressure instead of wisdom, it slowly drains the soul. Balance is not weakness, it is protection. The soul needs rhythm, just as the body does. Without moments of rest and reflection, even good actions become heavy. When balance is missing, worship can turn into a burden rather than a source of peace. Allah never intended devotion to feel suffocating. He designed it to nourish, not exhaust. Burnout does not arrive suddenly. It creeps in quietly. At first, there is tiredness, then resentment, and finally withdrawal. People often blame themselves for feeling this way, not realizing the real issue is imbalance. Excess without wisdom wears the heart down over time. Allah values consistency that lasts more than intensity that collapses. A small action done with balance and sincerity is more beloved than a heavy load that cannot be sustained. When effort is measured and thoughtful, it strengthens the soul instead of weakening it. Many push themselves out of fear of falling behind, fear of not being enough, fear of judgment. This fear-driven effort creates anxiety rather than closeness. Allah does not want obedience fueled by panic. He wants worship rooted in trust and understanding. Ignoring personal limits is not a sign of strength. It often signals misunderstanding. Every soul has a capacity and Allah knows that capacity better than anyone. Pushing beyond it repeatedly leads to spiritual fatigue, not growth. Balance allows the heart to breathe. It creates space for reflection, gratitude, and sincerity. Without balance, actions become mechanical, losing their meaning. The soul begins to move out of obligation rather than love. Many people abandon good deeds entirely because they tried to do too much at once. If they had paced themselves, they could have continued steadily. Allah prefers what is continuous, even if it seems small, because it protects the heart from collapse. Wisdom teaches when to act and when to pause. Both are forms of obedience. Rest is not laziness when it preserves the ability to continue. Allah does not reward self-destruction. He rewards perseverance guided by wisdom. Balance also prevents pride from entering the heart. When effort becomes excessive, it can quietly turn into self-reliance. Balanced effort reminds the soul that success comes from Allah, not from exhausting oneself. A heart that is constantly strained loses its softness. It becomes irritable, impatient, and distant. Balance restores gentleness, allowing kindness and humility to grow. These qualities are signs of a healthy soul. Allah created ease alongside effort. Ignoring ease is ignoring part of His mercy. When a person embraces balance, they accept divine wisdom rather than personal pressure. Burnout often leads people to question their faith, not realizing the problem was never faith itself, it was the way effort was carried. Balanced effort strengthens belief and keeps the heart steady. True dedication is sustainable. It allows space for mistakes, growth, and recovery. Allah does not demand constant intensity. He values sincerity that endures through time. When effort is guided by balance, the soul finds peace instead of exhaustion. Actions become lighter, intentions purer, and the heart remains connected. This is the kind of effort Allah loves, one that builds the soul instead of breaking it. Good intentions are a beautiful starting point, but they are not the final destination. A heart can be sincere and still move in the wrong direction if it lacks understanding. Wanting to please Allah is noble, yet without knowledge, that desire can become misguided. Intention gives energy, but knowledge gives direction. When direction is missing, effort may increase, but results weaken. Truth requires both a clean heart and a clear path. Sincerity alone does not guarantee correctness. A person may mean well and still make harmful choices without realizing it. This is why learning matters so deeply in matters of faith. Knowledge protects intention from turning into confusion. It ensures that good goals are pursued in the right way. Without it, even honesty can lead to regret. Allah never asked people to follow blindly. He encouraged reflection, understanding, and awareness. Acting without knowledge often creates imbalance and extremism. When people rush with emotion but neglect learning, they risk harming themselves and others. Wisdom keeps sincerity safe from excess and error. Intentions are internal, but actions are external. Actions affect lives, relationships, and faith itself. If actions are not grounded in correct understanding, their impact can be damaging despite good motives. Knowledge ensures that actions align with divine guidance. It transforms intention into benefit rather than harm. Learning is not a sign of doubt, it is a sign of humility. It shows a willingness to be corrected and refined. A sincere heart that seeks knowledge grows stronger and more stable. Refusing to learn often comes from pride, not devotion. True sincerity welcomes guidance. There are times when emotion pushes people to act quickly. Passion feels urgent and powerful, but faith is not built on impulse. It is built on clarity. Knowledge slows a person down just enough to act wisely. It channels emotion into meaningful and lasting effort. Without knowledge, people may confuse cultural habits with religious obligations. They may enforce what Allah never required or neglect what truly matters. Sincerity does not protect from these mistakes. Only learning can separate truth from assumption. This distinction is essential for spiritual health. Allah values deeds that are both sincere and correct. One without the other is incomplete. Knowledge teaches priorities, balance, and purpose. It helps a person understand not just what to do, but why it matters. That understanding deepens faith rather than complicating it. When knowledge guides intention, worship becomes lighter and more peaceful. Confusion fades, guilt lessens, and confidence grows. A person no longer doubts every step. They act with assurance rooted in understanding, not fear. This stability is a gift of learning. Mistakes made with good intentions still require correction. Learning allows a person to recognize errors without losing hope. It replaces defensiveness with growth. Knowledge turns mistakes into lessons instead of setbacks. This process strengthens the soul. Some resist learning because it challenges what they are used to. But comfort is not the measure of truth. Knowledge often reshapes beliefs that were never examined. A sincere heart accepts that discomfort as part of growth. This openness brings clarity. Faith, guided by knowledge, becomes resilient. It does not collapse under pressure or confusion. When challenges arise, understanding provides answers and patience. Without knowledge, sincerity alone can feel fragile and overwhelmed. Learning does not end at a certain level. Just as intention must be renewed, understanding must be refined. A heart that continues to learn remains humble and adaptable. This ongoing process protects faith from stagnation. Knowledge also prevents judging others unfairly. When understanding increases, mercy increases. A person realizes how complex guidance can be. This awareness softens the heart and improves character. When intention and knowledge work together, effort becomes meaningful. Actions align with purpose and worship becomes balanced. The heart feels calm because it knows it is walking correctly. This harmony is what Allah loves. Sincerity lights the fire, but knowledge guides the flame. Without guidance, the fire burns out of control. With wisdom, it provides warmth and light. This balance ensures that good intentions lead to good outcomes and lasting closeness to Allah. Consistency builds strength quietly without demanding attention. Small actions done regularly shape the heart over time in ways that sudden bursts never can. What feels insignificant today can become transformative when it is maintained. Allah values what lasts, not what overwhelms. Steady effort shows sincerity that endures beyond emotion. This kind of commitment protects the soul from exhaustion. Perfection creates pressure that the heart was not designed to carry. When a person sets impossible standards, failure feels inevitable. Each mistake then becomes a source of guilt instead of growth. Consistency allows space for imperfection while still moving forward. It keeps hope alive even on difficult days. A steady path does not require constant motivation. Some days effort comes easily, other days it feels heavy. Consistency means continuing even when enthusiasm fades. This discipline strengthens faith more than short-lived intensity. Allah sees the persistence behind each small step. Perfectionism often delays action altogether. Fear of doing something incorrectly can stop a person from starting. Consistency removes that fear by valuing progress over flawlessness. It encourages movement rather than hesitation. Every step forward, no matter how small, carries weight. Small actions repeated daily build habits that shape character. Habits formed through consistency become part of who you are. They do not rely on mood or circumstance. Allah loves actions that integrate into life naturally. This stability creates long-term growth. Chasing perfection often leads to disappointment because perfection is unattainable. When expectations are unrealistic, the heart grows harsh toward itself. Consistency allows gentleness and patience. It accepts that mistakes are part of the journey, not the end of it. Steady effort builds trust with Allah. It shows commitment even when results are not immediate. Allah rewards perseverance that continues quietly. Consistency reflects reliance rather than urgency. It aligns the heart with patience and hope. Perfection focuses on outcomes, while consistency focuses on process. When the process is honored, outcomes improve naturally. The heart learns to value effort rather than results. This shift reduces anxiety and increases peace. Allah looks at sincerity within the journey. Missing a day does not erase consistency. Returning after a pause is still part of the path. Perfectionism says failure means stopping. Consistency says continue even after mistakes. This mindset strengthens resilience. Consistency builds confidence slowly. Each repeated action reinforces belief in one's ability to continue. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes manageable. Allah nurtures this gradual strength. Sudden intensity cannot replace this steady growth. Perfectionism often isolates a person. It creates comparison and self-judgment. Consistency focuses inward, measuring progress against yesterday, not others. This inward focus promotes humility and sincerity. Steady effort also protects against burnout. When actions are manageable, they can be sustained. Allah does not want devotion to break the heart. He wants worship to bring closeness and peace. Consistency allows learning to settle. Repetition deepens understanding. Each time an action is performed, awareness grows. This depth is lost in rushed attempts at perfection. Allah values depth over display. A consistent path accommodates life's changes. It bends without breaking when circumstances shift. Perfection demands rigidity. Consistency allows flexibility while maintaining direction. Small, consistent actions invite divine support. Allah places blessing in continuity. What appears little to you may be immense in His sight. The power lies in persistence. Perfectionism often turns worship into performance. Consistency keeps it sincere. It removes the need to impress and focuses on connection. This purity strengthens faith. Consistency teaches patience. It reminds the heart that growth takes time. Allah designed spiritual development to be gradual. Rushing it leads to frustration. Even when progress feels slow, consistency ensures movement. Standing still is avoided and giving up is resisted. Allah rewards the effort to continue, not the speed. Consistency creates a rhythm that the soul recognizes. This rhythm brings comfort and familiarity. It anchors the heart during uncertainty. Allah loves hearts that return repeatedly. Perfection demands control, but consistency requires trust. Trust in Allah's timing and mercy. This trust eases the heart and strengthens reliance. Consistency shapes a faith that lasts. It allows imperfection without despair. Allah loves steady effort because it reflects sincerity that endures beyond emotion, mistake, and hardship. Harshness toward the self often disguises itself as discipline, but it slowly drains the soul. When a person constantly criticizes their shortcomings, the heart becomes heavy instead of hopeful. True growth does not come from crushing the spirit. Allah did not design the soul to be nurtured through cruelty. What breaks the heart cannot elevate it. Gentleness is not the enemy of righteousness. Many assume that strict self-judgment proves sincerity. They believe that constant guilt keeps them on the right path. In reality, excessive guilt weakens motivation and clouds intention. Allah does not ask you to live in self-blame. He asks you to return, reflect, and improve with hope. Being harsh with yourself often comes from fear, not faith. Fear of failure, fear of not being accepted, fear of falling short. But obedience rooted in fear alone creates tension, not closeness. Allah wants hearts that move toward Him willingly, not souls dragged by shame. Piety is not measured by how much pain you inflict on yourself. It is measured by sincerity, humility, and growth. When self-criticism becomes constant, it blocks gratitude and joy. A heart that never feels worthy struggles to feel connected. Mercy restores that connection. Allah is gentle in His guidance, and He loves gentleness in return. If divine mercy surrounds your mistakes, why deny mercy to yourself? Treating the soul with kindness is not indulgence. It is alignment with how Allah deals with His servants. Harsh self-talk convinces the heart that it will never be enough. This belief slowly kills motivation. When effort feels pointless, consistency fades. Mercy toward the soul revives effort by reminding it that improvement is always possible. A gentle approach encourages honesty. When the heart feels safe, it admits its weaknesses openly. Harshness forces the soul to hide its flaws out of fear. Allah prefers honest hearts over fearful ones. Being kind to yourself does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means correcting them without destroying hope. Growth requires clarity, not condemnation. Allah opens doors through repentance, not despair. Harshness often leads to burnout. The soul grows tired of constant pressure. Over time, even good actions feel heavy. Mercy lightens the load and makes worship sustainable. The soul learns best in an environment of patience. Just as harsh teachers fail their students, harsh self-judgment fails the heart. Encouragement nurtures learning. Allah teaches with wisdom, not humiliation. Self-mercy builds resilience. When setbacks occur, a merciful heart gets back up. A harsh heart stays down, trapped in disappointment. Allah wants you to rise again, not remain stuck in regret. Kindness toward the soul allows balance. Balance protects from extremes that distort faith. Allah loves moderation because it preserves sincerity. Harshness pushes toward extremes that harm more than help. Piety includes understanding human limits. Ignoring those limits is not devotion. Allah created weakness as part of humanity. Recognizing it is humility, not failure. When you show mercy to yourself, gratitude grows. You begin to notice progress instead of only flaws. Gratitude strengthens faith and deepens trust. Allah loves grateful hearts. Harshness makes faith feel like a burden. Mercy makes it feel like guidance. One repels the heart, the other attracts it. Allah invites, He does not repel. A merciful heart remains open to learning. It accepts correction without defensiveness. Harshness turns correction into shame. Allah wants you teachable, not broken. Self-mercy helps separate mistakes from identity. You did something wrong, but you are not wrong. This distinction protects dignity. Allah never strips dignity from those who seek Him. Being gentle with yourself mirrors trust in Allah's mercy. It reflects belief that He forgives and guides. Harshness suggests doubt in that mercy. Faith grows when trust replaces fear. Mercy toward the soul encourages patience. Change takes time, and patience allows it. Allah does not rush transformation. He nurtures it gradually. When the soul feels supported, effort increases naturally. Motivation flows from hope, not punishment. Allah wants willing hearts, not forced ones. True piety softens the heart rather than hardening it. It builds awareness without cruelty. Mercy toward the soul is not a weakness in faith. It is a sign of understanding how Allah Himself nurtures, forgives, and guides His servants. Real change begins in a place no one else can see. Before words are spoken or actions are judged, the heart must be examined. When the inner state is neglected, outward correction becomes empty. Allah looks first at what lives inside the chest. If the heart is unsettled, actions will reflect that imbalance. Inner alignment is the foundation of all meaningful change. Correcting others without correcting oneself often leads to hypocrisy. Advice loses sincerity when it is not practiced internally. The heart becomes busy pointing outward instead of reflecting inward. Allah values self-awareness over public criticism. Growth begins with personal accountability. When the heart is aligned, actions follow naturally without force. There is no need for constant reminders or pressure. The soul moves willingly toward what is right. This internal harmony creates consistency. Actions become expressions of belief rather than performances. A heart filled with ego struggles to guide others correctly. Pride distorts intention and corrupts advice. When the heart is humble, words carry weight. Allah places blessing in guidance that comes from sincerity. Internal correction removes arrogance from the message. Focusing on others' faults often distracts from personal flaws. This distraction slows spiritual growth. Self-correction keeps the soul honest and grounded. Allah wants servants who improve themselves before attempting to reform the world. When the heart is purified, patience increases. A patient heart understands that change takes time. It does not rush others or judge harshly. Allah loves patience because it reflects trust in divine wisdom. Internal alignment builds credibility. Actions speak louder when they come from a transformed heart. People are more influenced by character than by instruction. Allah allows light to flow through those who embody what they teach. Correcting the heart requires courage. It means confronting weaknesses without excuses. This confrontation is uncomfortable but necessary. Allah rewards honesty that leads to repentance and growth. A heart that seeks its own correction becomes softer. Softness invites mercy and understanding. Harsh hearts repel even when they speak truth. Allah sends guidance through gentleness, not severity. Internal correction strengthens intention. Actions become driven by sincerity rather than recognition. When the heart seeks Allah alone, effort becomes pure. This purity brings peace. Focusing inward reduces judgment. Awareness of personal struggles creates empathy. Empathy improves relationships and communication. Allah increases mercy in hearts that understand their own need for it. When the heart is corrected, reactions change. Anger softens, impatience lessens, and forgiveness grows. These changes reflect internal progress. Allah values these transformations deeply. Internal alignment prevents burnout. Constantly fixing others is exhausting. Working on oneself is grounding and sustainable. Allah designed growth to begin internally for a reason. Correcting the heart also improves self-discipline. When intentions are clear, discipline follows naturally. There is less resistance and more willingness. Allah strengthens those who align internally. A heart that is aligned recognizes its limitations. This recognition builds humility. Humility keeps guidance sincere and respectful. Allah loves humility because it opens doors to learning. Internal correction deepens connection with Allah. The heart becomes more aware and responsive. Worship feels meaningful rather than routine. This connection fuels consistent action. When the heart is right, mistakes become opportunities rather than failures. Growth continues without despair. Allah supports hearts that keep returning with honesty. Correcting oneself creates authenticity. Actions are no longer forced or artificial. Authenticity attracts trust and respect. Allah places influence in genuine hearts. Internal alignment also brings clarity. Decisions become easier and less conflicted. The heart knows its priorities. Allah guides hearts that seek clarity sincerely. A corrected heart does not rush to fix others. It understands timing and wisdom. Silence becomes a form of guidance. Allah values restraint rooted in insight. Lasting change always begins within. When the heart is aligned, actions improve naturally and guidance becomes effective. Allah transforms outward realities by first transforming the heart. Worship was never meant to feel like a burden that weighs the heart down. It was meant to be a bridge that draws the soul closer to its Creator. When worship is understood correctly, it becomes a source of comfort rather than pressure. If the heart feels distant despite constant action, something within needs reflection. Allah designed worship to heal, not to exhaust. Closeness is the goal, not mere movement. When actions begin to feel heavy, the soul often grows restless. Instead of peace, there is frustration. Instead of humility, there is resentment. These feelings are not signs of failure, but signals for adjustment. Allah does not want obedience that pushes you away emotionally. He wants worship that gently pulls you nearer. True worship softens the heart. It makes a person more patient, more aware, and more grounded. If actions are producing anger, pride, or bitterness, their purpose has been misunderstood. Worship should refine character, not harden it. A hardened heart is a sign that balance has been lost. Distance can appear when worship becomes mechanical. When actions are performed without presence, meaning fades. The body moves, but the heart remains elsewhere. Allah values awareness over routine. Presence transforms actions into connection. Sometimes worship feels distant because it is driven by fear alone. Fear without hope creates tension. Allah balanced warning with mercy for a reason. Worship rooted only in fear can push the heart away. Hope and trust bring the heart back. Resentment often grows when worship feels forced. When obligation lacks understanding, resistance forms inside. Allah never wanted obedience to feel like imprisonment. He wanted it to feel like guidance. Adjustment restores that understanding. True worship brings humility, not superiority. If actions increase judgment toward others, something is off. Worship should remind a person of their own need, not others' faults. Humility is a sign of closeness. Pride is a sign of distance. When worship is healthy, it brings calm even in difficulty. The situation may remain hard, but the heart feels supported. If actions increase anxiety, the approach needs reconsideration. Allah provides peace through remembrance, not panic. Worship should feel like returning home, not running away. It should feel safe, not suffocating. When the heart dreads worship, the soul is asking for mercy and understanding. Allah listens to these inner signals. Closeness grows when worship is paired with sincerity. Doing less with presence is better than doing more without it. Allah does not count quantity the way humans do. He values depth, honesty, and intention. Sometimes distance forms when worship ignores balance. Excess leads to exhaustion. Exhaustion leads to resentment. Allah loves moderation because it preserves the heart. Balance keeps worship sustainable. Worship should increase love for Allah, not fear of failure. When fear dominates, the heart shrinks. Love expands the soul. Allah draws hearts through mercy more than pressure. If worship creates anger toward yourself, something is wrong. Allah does not want you to hate yourself in His name. Growth should come with compassion. Self-loathing pushes the heart away from connection. True worship teaches patience with oneself. It allows mistakes without despair. Allah welcomes return after failure. Worship that leaves no room for repentance misunderstands divine mercy. When worship is aligned, it brings clarity. Confusion settles. Priorities become clear. The heart feels guided rather than lost. This clarity is a sign of closeness. Worship should make you more gentle with others. If it increases harshness, the heart needs correction. Allah's guidance produces mercy. Mercy is evidence of proper understanding. Distance can also come from comparing oneself to others. Worship is personal, not competitive. Allah judges hearts individually. Comparison steals peace and creates resentment. When worship nurtures peace, it strengthens resilience. the heart feels anchored even when tested. If worship increases fragility, it needs recalibration. Allah strengthens through connection. Closeness grows when worship includes gratitude. Gratitude transforms duty into privilege. Without gratitude, worship feels heavy. Allah loves grateful hearts. Worship should make you more aware of Allah's kindness. If it only highlights punishment, balance is missing. Allah introduced Himself with mercy before warning. That order matters. When actions are correct, worship brings joy quietly. Not loud happiness, but deep contentment. This contentment is a sign that the heart is aligned. True worship allows space for reflection. Reflection deepens understanding. Without it, actions lose meaning. Allah encourages reflection because it nurtures closeness. Worship should heal wounds, not reopen them. If it constantly reminds you of failure, the approach needs mercy. Allah's door is always open. Worship should point to that door. Closeness grows when worship feels sincere, not performative. Performing drains the soul. Sincerity restores it. Allah sees beyond appearances. If worship pushes you away emotionally, it is not rejection, it is redirection. Allah invites you to refine your approach. Adjustment is part of growth. Worship is meant to draw you nearer, not drive you away. When it nurtures peace and humility, it fulfills its purpose. Allah wants your heart before your actions and closeness before quantity. Pride often hides itself behind confidence and certainty. It convinces the heart that it already knows enough, that correction is unnecessary. When pride settles in, growth slows quietly. The soul becomes closed to insight, even when truth is near. Allah created the heart to remain teachable. When humility leaves, guidance struggles to enter. Refusing correction does not protect dignity, it limits it. A heart that cannot accept advice builds walls around itself. Those walls feel safe at first, but over time they become barriers to progress. Allah sends guidance through reminders, not flattery. Pride blocks those reminders before they reach the heart. Humility does not mean weakness or lack of self-worth. It means recognizing that learning never ends. Even the most knowledgeable remain students. Allah raises those who lower themselves willingly. Growth begins the moment the heart admits it does not know everything. Pride convinces a person that being corrected is an attack. It turns advice into insult and guidance into criticism. This reaction keeps the heart defensive. A defensive heart cannot absorb wisdom. Humility softens the response and allows benefit to remain. When pride dominates, mistakes are repeated. Not because the person cannot improve, but because they refuse to see the need. Allah allows mistakes to teach, not to humiliate. Humility allows those lessons to be received. Pride wastes them. Letting go of pride creates space for clarity. The heart becomes lighter when it no longer has to defend itself constantly. Admitting error removes pressure. Allah loves hearts that return honestly rather than pretending perfection. Correction is not meant to diminish you, it is meant to refine you. Pride misinterprets correction as loss of status. Humility understands it as opportunity. Growth requires this understanding. A proud heart listens only to confirm its own views. A humble heart listens to learn. Allah places wisdom in unexpected places. Pride causes a person to miss guidance because it did not arrive the way they expected. Humility strengthens character. It allows patience, reflection, and self-awareness to grow. Pride weakens these qualities by keeping the heart rigid. Allah nurtures flexible hearts that can adapt and improve. Accepting correction requires courage. It takes strength to admit fault without excuses. This courage leads to maturity. Allah rewards honesty that leads to change. Pride isolates the soul. It creates distance between a person and those who could help them grow. Humility builds connection. Allah sends support through people, advice, and experiences. A closed heart misses these gifts. Growth requires discomfort. Correction often challenges habits and beliefs. Pride avoids discomfort at all costs. Humility accepts temporary discomfort for long-term improvement. Allah honors this willingness. A humble heart does not rush to defend itself. It pauses, reflects, and evaluates. Even if correction is imperfect, there is often truth within it. Allah allows benefit to reach those who remain open. Pride convinces a person they are being targeted. Humility recognizes that guidance is personal, but not personal attacks. This distinction preserves peace. Allah wants hearts calm enough to reflect. Letting go of pride also improves relationships. Listening without resistance builds trust. Arrogance damages connection. Allah places harmony in humility. Growth accelerates when pride loosens its grip. Learning becomes enjoyable rather than threatening. Allah increases understanding for those who seek it sincerely. A humble heart can say, "I was wrong," without losing dignity. In fact, dignity increases. Allah elevates those who acknowledge truth over ego. Pride demands control. Humility allows surrender. Surrender opens the door to divine guidance. Allah leads those who allow themselves to be led. Correction is often mercy disguised as discomfort. Pride sees only the discomfort. Humility recognizes the mercy. Allah sends reminders to protect, not to embarrass. Humility keeps the heart young. Pride makes it rigid and brittle. Allah loves hearts that remain alive and responsive. Letting go of pride does not mean accepting every criticism blindly. It means considering guidance thoughtfully. Discernment works best in humble hearts. Allah balances humility with wisdom. Pride resists change. Humility welcomes refinement. Growth requires change. Allah transforms those willing to be shaped. A heart free of pride learns from success and failure alike. Pride learns from neither. Allah teaches through both outcomes. Humility creates room for repentance. Pride resists it. Allah's mercy flows toward hearts that admit need. Correction accepted today prevents regret tomorrow. Pride delays improvement until consequences arrive. Allah offers guidance before hardship when hearts are receptive. Growth begins where pride ends. Letting go allows light to enter. Humility opens doors that arrogance keeps shut. Allah guides those who lower themselves, and through that humility, true growth finally begins. Change does not always require dramatic decisions or complete restarts. Often, transformation begins with something subtle, almost unnoticeable at first. A small adjustment in intention can redirect the heart toward clarity. When pressure to overhaul everything is removed, the soul feels relief. Allah designed growth to be gradual, not overwhelming. Small changes protect the heart from despair. A slight shift in perspective can completely alter how a struggle feels. What once felt heavy may become manageable. When intention is refined, actions gain new meaning. Allah places immense blessing in sincerity, even when effort seems minimal. Direction matters more than speed. Starting over can feel intimidating and exhausting. It creates fear of failure before progress even begins. Small changes invite movement without fear. They allow the heart to breathe while still moving forward. Allah loves steps that are consistent and thoughtful. Sometimes the problem is not what you are doing, but why you are doing it. When intention is corrected, the same action produces different results. Allah judges deeds by intention before outcome. A minor internal shift can unlock peace that effort alone could not. Small changes are sustainable. They fit into daily life without disruption. This sustainability is what allows growth to last. Allah prefers actions that continue quietly over time. Consistency thrives when change feels manageable. A gentle adjustment in method can restore balance. When effort feels heavy, refining the approach can bring relief. Allah does not demand hardship for its own sake. He guides toward what nurtures the soul. Small changes prevent burnout. They allow progress without exhaustion. When expectations are realistic, motivation remains alive. Allah does not want you overwhelmed. He wants you moving forward with hope. Even slight increases in awareness can transform behavior. Becoming conscious of intention reshapes action naturally. Allah places light in awareness. That light guides decisions without force. Small changes encourage patience. They remove urgency and replace it with trust. Trust in Allah's timing brings calm. Growth becomes a journey rather than a race. Sometimes change begins with letting go of one harmful habit. Releasing a single burden can lighten the entire heart. Allah opens doors when space is created. One release can invite multiple blessings. A refined intention turns routine actions into worship. What once felt ordinary becomes meaningful. Allah multiplies reward through sincerity. This transformation does not require new actions, only renewed purpose. Small changes build confidence. Each adjustment proves that progress is possible. Confidence fuels consistency. Allah strengthens those who believe they can move forward. Growth often fails when people aim too high, too fast. Small steps avoid disappointment. Allah guides through gradual refinement. This method protects faith from collapse. A slight change in response can transform relationships. Choosing patience over reaction alters outcomes. Allah rewards restraint and wisdom. Small choices shape large results. Small changes allow reflection. Reflection deepens understanding. Allah encourages reflection because it leads to clarity. Clarity simplifies growth. When change feels achievable, resistance decreases. The heart becomes willing rather than defensive. Allah opens hearts gently, not forcefully. Small improvements accumulate over time. What seems minor today becomes significant later. Allah values progress even when it is slow. Accumulation creates transformation. Changing intention also changes reward. The same effort becomes more meaningful. Allah's mercy expands through sincerity. Intention elevates action. Small changes reduce fear of failure. Failure feels less devastating when expectations are gentle. Allah supports hearts that keep trying. Persistence grows naturally. Refinement does not erase the past. It builds on it. Allah transforms what exists rather than discarding it. This continuity brings comfort. Sometimes change begins with awareness of one flaw. Awareness leads to correction. Allah values honesty with oneself. Honesty opens the door to growth. Small changes encourage gratitude. Progress becomes visible and appreciated. Gratitude strengthens faith. Allah increases blessings for grateful hearts. Growth does not require perfection. It requires willingness. Small changes reflect that willingness. Allah meets sincere effort with guidance. A slight shift toward patience can change the entire journey. Patience steadies the heart. Allah rewards patience generously. Stability follows. Transformation often feels invisible at